One of the more well-known ways YouTubers make money is YouTube ad revenue. Now, YouTube ad revenue comes from the ads that play before, middle, and after your YouTube video. Now, to get this feature, however, it does require some requirements and also following some guidelines. The first requirement you need to have is 1,000 subscribers. The second is 4,000 watch hours. You would also need to create an AdSense account, and an AdSense account you can actually create right now. You don't have to wait to create an AdSense account, and I highly recommend you get on top of creating a Google AdSense account as soon as possible, because to get that reviewed and approved takes a little bit longer. To figure out how many views you need to achieve the 4,000 watch hours, there's no exact number, but there can be hypothetical number that I can go ahead and give you guys. Let's just say your videos on average is about 10 minutes long, and let's just say people typically watch about 4 minutes of that video, which is the average people usually watch a YouTube video for. If you're following the correct strategies that's listed in this course, that's probably what you're gonna end up getting is about 4 minutes on a 10-minute video. This would mean that you would need to achieve roughly 60,000 views achieved in the last 12 months in order to get the 4,000 watch hours requirement. The quickest way to achieve these requirements is creating a 10-minute long length video. The reason why is because the longer people watch, the more minutes and hours you accumulate over time, getting you closer to that 4,000 watch hours requirement and eventually getting you monetized. Now let's go ahead and go over some guidelines that are required to get yourself approved to use ads from YouTube. Guidelines. Okay, so most of the guidelines YouTube requires in order to get monetization is guidelines that they normally have for the YouTube platform as a whole. Some examples of the guidelines you need to follow when having your YouTube channel are spam, deceptive practices, and scams. Now this could mean duplicative content that doesn't add any true value to the platform. This also means scams, such as things taking people off of the YouTube platform and causing harm. Things like nudity and sexual content isn't allowed either. This guideline, you can probably already assume what it means. Child safety. Now this guideline, ultimately with this whole guideline, the way it works is that YouTube wants to ensure that no child is in danger of watching your content. Now this guideline was put into place after some horrific videos surfaced the platform showing some pedophilia rings within YouTube. Harmful or dangerous content. Now this guideline could mean sometimes anything that shows blood or too much blood that could cause harm. That is why it's always best that you put disclaimers in all of your videos when it comes down to if you're making a video that is probably dangerous or some type of stunt that causes harm. So just make sure you tell people in that disclaimer not to try this at home, and just make sure that if there's a lot of blood, you don't have it in the actual video. Hate speech. Now hate speech typically falls under the category of attacking other people for their religious, ethnicity, or other affiliations. Now this one can sometimes be a tricky one to fully figure out if you're on the wrong side of the line. Just as a rule of thumb though, I actually try to stay away from any attacking or any roasting of other people, because honestly, it's just something you don't want to touch. Harassment and cyberbullying. Now this one kind of builds off of the previous guideline, just extended upon with definitions. For the full list of guidelines and more information, I will go ahead and leave the link in the description, so make sure you check it out. You need to make sure you follow these guidelines, otherwise you will not get monetized. Alright, so how do you apply for monetization? In order to apply for monetization, just go to the Monetization tab on your Creator Studio dashboard, and all the info will be right there. One note I will want to say is that you got to make sure you verify your YouTube channel. So for example, if you didn't already look at the first video that I have on this course talking about customizing your YouTube channel, make sure you check that out. It'll tell you how to go ahead and verify your YouTube channel. You want to make sure you do that, otherwise you cannot get monetization. So once you're approved, it usually takes less than a month to go ahead and approve and reach these requirements. Once you are approved, you will then go ahead and monetize all your videos. One tip I have that will allow you to increase how much money you make per 1,000 views is adding mid-roll ads. The way you do this is by going to a specific YouTube video and going to the video editor tab. On that video, then you can go ahead and see multiple options on the left bottom side. You will see a $sign icon, and then you can go ahead and click on that to add mid-roll ads. I usually try to add several mid-roll ads throughout my video. If it's a 10-minute video, it will go ahead and allow you to do this. If you don't have a 10-minute video, it won't allow you to add mid-roll ads, so you probably won't even bother with that. For me, I usually put a mid-roll ad every 3 minutes. But that's pretty much how ad revenue works. For those of you who are wondering, okay, well, how much can I typically make from an ad? I'm gonna go ahead and break that down for you. So pretty much this is kind of varies per person and per niche. You know, there's so many different variables that comes into play when it comes down to how much you can make per 1,000 views. But I'll go ahead and give you guys a definition that you can understand to understand how much money you can make. So here's an example. What usually YouTubers go by is they go by the CPM. So CPM stands for how much you make for every 1,000 views. So on average, people make about a $2 to $3 every 1,000 views. Some people can make a $10, some people can only make $1 out of every 1,000 views. So it totally depends on what niche you're in and what kind of content you're making. But let's just say you get 1 million views every single month. That usually means, let's say you have the average CPM, which is a $3 CPM. That means if you're making 1 million views every single month, you're making roughly $3,000 every single month from YouTube ad revenue. Now, this doesn't include other methods like brand deals or other things like courses. Those will be talked about later in this course that you can go ahead and check out, but this is specifically from YouTube themselves sending you a paycheck. So that's pretty much how it works if you're confused on how much you can possibly make from YouTube ad revenue and how it all works. All right, I'll go ahead and see you guys in the next video.